Hey there, YouTube. I'm Ali Meg, and we have had a crazy episode this week of RWBY. So much information dropped, so much questions answered, so many questions that we had since like the beginning of like when RWBY first started. We have them answered, like the destruction of the moon randomly. This was a big, fat, juicy hamburger or cheeseburger or bacon cheeseburger, whatever you want to call it. We call it the works. Like, we'll call it the works. It was very delicious. Very delish. It was a good episode. Very confusing one. I have problems with some of the things, but a very good episode nonetheless. Now, before anything, I know the community is actually going up in arms because, we're playing the blame game basically. Whose fault was it? Was it Ozma? Was it Salem? Was it the brothers? Was it the rubble on the ground by the side of the road? I do not know. And I'm just going to say right now, I think that it's a collective of decisions and actions made between all parties. All parties and probably more. I do not feel that Salem is to blame completely for this whole thing. The brothers were assholes. They were complete assholes. Like, the only thing I don't find was assholey about the brother of creation's decision was the fact that he was trying to teach her a lesson, trying to teach Salem a lesson. I completely get that. I understand that. That made sense. The punishment, it made sense to me too. Did it make sense? No, it made sense. Immortality, like it made sense. So that way you can learn the lessons of the delicate balance of life and death. Since she will forever walk the face of the earth until she learns the lesson, while her beloved is passed away in the afterlife or whatever is there. That makes sense because once she learns her lesson, she will probably lose immortality, and then she'll be able to be with him forever in the afterlife. Blah, yada yada yada. That makes sense. Now, what does not make sense to me is why is it a few months later you're going to after abandoning humanity, well, no, there was no humanity. After abandoning the planet, you bring back Ozma to life. How does that make sense? I was very upset about that whole situation going down because that did not make sense. Your whole lesson to Salem was to teach her the delicate balance of life and death, but here you go, breaking the very rules, the very balance that you were just about to literally get into a fight with your brother about. How you were saying, oh, you're gonna just break the balance that we have created together, and like that you're just gonna get rid of it. Like that thought process didn't make sense. And even at that, you could say, oh, it's so that way he can gather the relics. He had a duty, so he can gather the relics, and so that way he can summon the brothers back and all of humanity can be judged. You could have brought back anybody. Why was it Ozma? That does not make sense. Like like that literally did not click inside my head. um and so like it's crazy. That stressed me out enough, like stressed me out to the point where I'm stuttering trying to click that into my head. I can't think straight. No, but the other brother, the god of destruction, he's just a douchebag. Like he's like at first I thought, he's kind of chill. He brought back Ozma, he brought him back, and he was trying to do right, but then he got rid of him again. And then when the army decided to attack, Salem's army attacked the brothers, he grabbed it like a spear and he said, "Hmm, you're attacking me with my own magic. You will be annihilated." Whoosh! He evaporated everybody. He disintegrated everyone. He literally turned this into the ending of Avengers Infinity War. That's literally what happened. But he didn't just get rid of the people. Excuse me. He didn't just get rid of the people that attacked him. No, he said all of humanity is gone. All of them. And that is such an asshole move. Like that is a really asshole move. That did not click in my head either. And the brother of creation just stood by saying, "Okay, you guys get what you deserve." And it's just it was just it just it's just a lot. Like it just doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. That doesn't end the assholiness of Mr. You know, Thanos over here. He says, "Beam me up, Scotty," and then literally as he goes up, he destroys the moon on his way out. Like that's not an exit. The thought process for these gods made no sense throughout this whole episode, except for that one time where they gave her the punishment. That's it. And then like this it's just so much. Wow, like let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. Think about that. Think about that. And then breathe. And then exhale. And then we're back on track again. Salem, I don't think Salem is in the wrong whatsoever. I think she made the sanest choice of any human would. I would make that choice. My friends would make that choice. I think you guys would make that choice too. If someone that you loved, and I'm not talking about like, oh, I love you, I love my cat and all that stuff. Nah, or I love my bestie and all that shit. No, I'm talking about like you deeply love them. You have a bond. You have a connection with them. Like I know that sounded like very aggressive. I know that even looked it like my facial expressions looked very aggressive. But you have a bond. You're connected to them. You love them. You're devoted to them. And then you lose them. You would try to do anything you can to try to get them back. And you also have to remember they live in a world with magic and gods that can do anything. They can do anything. So I can definitely understand how she came to the choices and decisions that she definitely made. Now, are they right? No. You could have gone around. You could have gone. Through this a lot better. Like there's a lot of different ways to go through this, but I do understand and I can sympathize with how she got to where she is. Now, what is unfortunate was, she got her immortality. She couldn't kill herself. She amassed the army against the brothers. After that, humanity got wiped out. She was the only one on Earth or Remnant, I guess, because I don't know, was it still called Remnant back then? Because I know they made that little slight reference. They were like, "Oh, this planet is nothing but a remnant of what it used to be," and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice nod to what it is now. It's a remnant," but she walked the face of Remnant until she got to the pool, where she just jumped and said, "Sayonara, I'm outies," thinking that she could try to kill herself, um, but instead it just corrupted her more. And hold on, let's go back. Can we talk about the fact that how another thing that was really grimy about the brothers, they did Ozma so dirty. Before the Brother of Creation gave him immortality, they said, "Oh, the Brother of Destruction said, oh, here you go, come back up," and then the God of Creation said, "No, you will die." Poof, and then he brought him back, and then the God of Creation, did he destroy him again? Or no. I think the God of Destruction then said, I will fix my mistake, destroy, like Hakai, you know. That must have been such a jarring experience, specifically for Salem, to lose, the person that she was just like he was right there. He was right there, he's gone, then he comes back and he's gone again. Like I can't imagine how many heart attacks that she had right there at that moment. That was something. I don't even know what to make of that. These guys are on some next level douchebaggeriness. That's what they are. But moving forward, she got corrupted by the brothers' domain, that pool and whatnot. So she became the leader of the Grimm, or she could control the Grimm. Sorry, she can control the Grimm, and she had that hunger for destruction and all that jazz. Now, Ozma comes back, and he realizes that this is in the reincarnation cycle. He finds Salem after a few years of hearing a lot of rumors, a lot of things like that, and they hit it off. That's basically what happens. They hit it off. From the moment that he speaks with Salem, you can see that he isn't sure about the choices that he's making. It's very obvious. You can see it all over his face. You can see it every time he talks. You can see it every time he does anything. He's even unsure about the choices that Salem is making, but he stays with her because he loves her, and she loves him. Now, was that right? No, I would have called her out on it a long time ago, but then I probably would have gotten smoked at the end of the day. But it is what it is. Now, what is a very interesting fact, and I was thinking about this as I was watching the episode, was the daughters that they had. The four daughters, um, they look like the maidens. Now, obviously, not the full grown maidens, but like their color palettes and slight designs look a lot like the four maidens, and that led me onto a theory. Not that they are the maidens, but that the story that we got about the maidens about in the World of Remnant episode, the little short little episode we got, what probably happened in my head, I was thinking about it. What probably happened is that the the four women came to Ozpin at the time, or Ozma, whatever his name was at that reincarnation point, and they taught him all these lessons, and they tried to get closer because he was a lonely old man. As we see through the reincarnation cycles, that he, in a lot of the cycles, he mourned and he was in sorrow through a lot of them, which is very heartbreaking when you really really get down to it. These four women, they comforted him in any way that they could. They taught him all of these lessons, and what probably ended up happening is that they reminded him of his four daughters, and that's heartbreaking. Like, that's really heartbreaking to think about. And I was sitting there, and in my head I was like, oh man, this is heavy. This is a little too much. This episode, I'm telling you, this episode is just this off the chain. The information is just ridiculous. And so, I like, that's one of the theories that I'm going by right now. I think that that's the most likely case, or the most likely situation. Another big important, like, I wouldn't call it important. Another little side note that I was thinking was the fact that I believe that Ozpin was guarding the relic of choice, because the relic of choice is the crown. As we know, the relics are the crown, I believe, the sword, the spear or the staff, and then the lantern. We know the lantern is obviously knowledge, and the we don't know what the others are. But I think the crown is choice. No, I mean, we know what the others are. I'm sorry. We know what the others are, but we don't know where they're being held. I believe that Ozpin was guarding at Beacon the relic of choice. And the only thing that really leads me to believe this, and it's not a very big detail or a big, like, oh my god, that has to be it, is the fact that, like, when we first see Ozma in his first, before the reincarnation cycle, when he actually is Ozma, you see on his cape, at the bottom of the back of his cape, you see a crown, and also on, like, his like, chest piece. I think it was either his chest piece or, like, right, like, on top of his belt, you see a crown. So I don't know, I just assumed. And choice kind of feels like something Ozpin would be about. I thought it would have been knowledge, but choice would be, like, runner up. So maybe it's just a small little detail that I was thinking about. Now, now that I've eliminated all the suspects of the blame game. Oh wait, have I eliminated Ozma? I haven't eliminated Ozma. Okay, the only choice that I feel that he made bad was probably the fact that he was trying to, like, he didn't talk to, like, Salem. Like, he didn't, in the sense of, he didn't confront her. He didn't do anything until the very end, when it was already too late, after they had the four daughters, like, the four kids. He realized it too late, and he tried to take the kids away, and Salem saw it. Like, you could see the corruption in Salem, you could see the uncertainty in Ozma, and he tried to take them away, and then they had a full-on battle. She was ready. They had a full-on battle, and unfortunately, the kids died, and that is really really dark. I did not think that Ruby would go so dark. I know that in first episode, we see Adam slaughtering a whole room, but this is like kids. We're talking about, like, kids here, and they just got wiped out. And then I was never expecting Ozpin or I'm sorry, Ozma to win that fight. I was never. Salem's immortal. You can't do anything about that. And he was gonna get wiped out eventually. And so, going back to what I was saying about the reincarnation cycles, you can see after that point, he was a depressed old man. Yeah, yeah, because he had already lived. I'm counting all the reincarnations as one whole line. He was a depressed old man. He just kept going on, and most of his reincarnations was spent mourning and in depression. That's, like I said before, that's heartbreaking. That's really heartbreaking. But then it comes to a point where he finally finds the resolve to do what needs to be done. And he finds the relic of knowledge and he asks the three questions. The three questions being, where are the relics? What do the relics do? And how do we destroy Salem? Now, we didn't get to hear the answer for the first two questions, but the last question, we all knew the answer to it. I know for a fact we all know the answer to how to destroy Salem. And that answer is we can't. Like, it's just simple. Like when you think about it, immortality and all that stuff, that just wasn't happening. Now, the only way they're probably gonna beat Salem is if they do some friendship forever type stuff. Like, that's the only way I really see this ending. Like, is if they manage to change Salem's whole mindset, but that's very iffy. Now, this episode as a whole, it was just so information heavy. It was beautiful. And I know some people don't like it. I don't understand that point, but like some people genuinely think that this was a terrible episode. And I have to disagree. This was a beautiful episode. This was they the they set up future volumes. Like, you don't think about it, but they've already planted the seeds for future volumes to come. And now they can use so much information from just this one episode in whatever season they want to. Season, what are we on, 6? I know that sounds really bad. Just bear with me. They could use it in season 9, 10, 37, 154. I don't know. So I think that that's an amazing thing that they've done, and I'm glad that things are still rolling very smoothly behind the scenes at Rooster Teeth, especially for RWBY. Oh man. So, if you guys like the video, thank you. Thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next.